Time to check in with the Strimmies. Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tire. Dirt, late model, dirt modified, and big block modified talk. Now on MRN.com. Here now are David and Ashley.
Happy Tuesday, y'all. It is time for some Slingin Dirt presented by Hercules Tires. We have got everything late model modified and everything in between. Even some push start cars we talk about every now and again.
Track packers, everything.
E-mods, as David likes to be called.
I hate to be called an E-mod.
Gotta love it. We have a great show on tap for you today. We have Gary Tomkins joining us. He just picked up his first Super Dirt Car Series win since 2008. He's with a new team. It'll be a good story. I'm excited to talk to Gary and see what's going on there. We've got Chub Frank joining us. We're just going to chat with old Chubby and see what's going on in Pennsylvania.
That didn't sound good. Hey, listen, it was my idea to talk to Chub Frank. I got to talk to him quite a bit at Fairbury. Enjoyed the conversation. He's a fan favorite, and I said, hey, we got to have him on. He's run well this year.
And he's just an old school racer. That's what I love about him.
Be careful. He's a veteran is what he is.
No. When I say old school, you can be
19.
I
know.
I never said he was old.
Who else we got on?
And last but not least, we have Billy Moyer Jr. He picked
sure.
up. Yeah, well, I don't know. We've been trying to get him for a couple of weeks. I think we have him nailed down today. But I hope so. World of Outlaws win at Winchester.
Maybe he's done celebrating now.
Well, I think he had to drive the whole way home last week and wasn't able to get up in time. And
the thing that I've learned, dirt racing, that
I was going to say
a lot of them have a time schedule. Like we are on at 1 o'clock Eastern here, which is normally they're 7 in the morning. So it's hard for some of them.
You had to learn that as well.
I'm good. Listen, I get up in the morning.
No,
so
but I mean like when we're on the weekends, when we're racing.
Hard,
yes. You also
normally
to
I'm up
that.
at like 6:37, and on the race weekends, it's like 9:30, 10. So
exactly.
That's still like
dirt
early
time.
for dirt time. Yeah,
exactly.
Anyways, Devin Moran ended up winning at Portsmouth.
Oh, he did?
Yes. And Tyler Carpenter run second, beat Jackie Boggs. Jackie Boggs has been very hot in that Portsmouth Atomic, what I call the southwestern region of Ohio area, has been very strong. And hats off to Devin. He started on the pole, and Tyler was there. It got rained out Saturday, so they run Sunday. And I think it was somewhat of a day race, so probably wasn't as great. But he pulled off the win, so good job, Devin.
And kudos to Devin, because we talked about it quickly with Bobby Pierce last week. He finished fourth, and I think that's still really impressive as well in the North-South.
Yeah. I talked about that.
I know. I said it was mentioned, but I feel like we needed to give him a little bit bigger pat on the back.
The thing that's interesting right now is a lot of people seeing Jimmy Owens win to an XR1 rocket. A lot of guys are switching back to rockets. It's funny how it kind of the racing world turns as it goes.
Always, no matter
Barry
what
Wright,
it is.
who obviously isn't with Clint Boyer Racing anymore, but he was with Jimmy, and they were doing a lot of stuff, and obviously they've decided to go a different brand, but Devin Moran's in a Barry Wright car, so kudos to Barry and Lance and those guys. I mean, at the end of the day, people get all caught up into names, and it's all about service and taking care of people. And Devin's obviously doing very well with his. Tyler Carpenter, who runs second, was in a Kryptonite car, and then Jackie was in a Swartz. I mean, you look at three cars there, you're like, wait. I mean, there was Conley run, I think, fourth. He was in an X1R rocket. I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to drive them and tune them and do everything. So.
Well, and with Devin, it also helps when you have the $1 million man on your side.
Yeah. The other thing that I thought was interesting, Jared Hawkins, he won 2 in a row now at Tyler County. But as we've seen, some mod guys, Jacob, his brother, was running a late model. Him and 2 brothers have got a rocket. And then also Nick Hoffman, he got a rocket.
Oh, he did?
So he was at the North-South Shootout running as well. So you see some mod guys moving up. But speaking of Tyler County, what my point was is Freddie Carpenter, who's Tyler's dad, had a bad wreck, flipped over. But they said he's got concussion. And we hear that a lot lately. I was just talking with Dave Moody and some of the guys before the show about concussions on the asphalt world, as NASCAR took steps to make sure that they check drivers and do some stuff, medical attentions and these brain test, I guess you'd call it, head test or whatever. I don't know what the correct terminology. Anyways, impact testing, they called it.
There you go.
But the dirt world, Jared Landers had an announcement this week. He tore part of his artery. I'm not a doctor. I just, what I'd read and
we know that.
was texting him.
Build
but
race cars.
What's interesting is he ended up, it was like a week later, he called me. I'm like, yeah, I'm all right, and he had won the next night at, I think it was at Lucas, where they run. I don't remember. But anyways, the thing is that we see it more in the dirt world. There's a lot of injuries going on, and I think it has to do with the cars are going so much faster. And I'm not going to knock series, but a lot of people aren't checking safety stuff. That's one of the things I do take upon myself. My head and neck restraint system. Obviously, we had seen, everybody's putting fire bottles on with what happened to the gentleman earlier this year that got burned. But when you look at series, that's what they want to complain about, a spoiler height that's a half inch or, we got this going on with the body. Look, just check out the belts or the seat. And to me, they need to do more of even how seats are mounted. I've looked at some guy's stuff, and I'm like, that's a little sketchy.
Well, do you think it's so much? I mean, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying, but ultimately, I think we live in a world now that there's a lot more technology, not just for our race cars, but that are advanced to be able to read your brain and know more about concussions than we used to 10, 15 years ago.
I mean, obviously, they, like I said, NASCAR went through a lot of things that I know through the era I was there, we were able to really not just go get a physical. They had a lot of things that we would check. But the thing that's interesting, Ultimate Super Late Models put out a little statement that said, hey, if your helmet has a scratch or a nick or anything on it, you need to have it checked because it could be cracked from the inside.
Absolutely.
And they said, go look at your kids or your wife and tell them, hey, I might need to get a new helmet. Because racers are cheap. They're like, man, I got to get that tire. I'm going to keep that helmet. Or some guys don't even wear gloves. And that it just bothers me. And again, coming from the asphalt side, with Dale Earnhardt's death, they really pursued a lot of the safety side. So I know in our cars and stuff that I do, I really look at the attention of that because it can happen anywhere. I mean, and that's the thing that I think when you look at Randy Weaver still out, obviously, Davenport won this past weekend in the 116 car, but it sounds like Weaver might not even come back. You don't know. I mean,
and that's something we can talk to Chub about as well with Boom.
I'd love to.
And see what he has to say, how Boom is doing, and Boom Briggs, that is, with his bad accident that he had, and see where things are with his. I know he was going into surgeries and doing all that stuff as well. So
what's interesting, you take, for a long time, guys would wreck. I mean, I'm surprised, everybody was on the big news. Steve Kenzer ended up, his last race. Anyways, you look at that guy lived through an era. I can't believe he's able to walk. And you look at, Billy Moyer Jr.'s dad. He's raced so many things and probably been in accidents. But guys, when they get in an accident, they'd go, oh, man, I got to go next week. I got to make a paycheck, make money for their family and so forth. They race for a living. But I think, again, what's going on is the cars are so fast. Some of the facilities aren't really up to par for probably the speeds they're running and doing stuff. And then, again, some of the safety aspect. We need to enforce more.
Well,
more
that
stuff.
I don't ever think you'll see a series step up and slow cars down. We've worked so hard on technology and making those cars fast that
I'll beg to differ.
Direction. Really?
Because you know why?
Why?
A couple years ago, UMP said, hey, we're taking the spoilers off these modifieds. We're going to put them on a little harder tire. It slowed them down a little bit. Now, we're working harder to get back, but I think it's the same with late models. You look at those cars, and I was watching a video of Kyle Bronson. He won down in Florida and at Volusia, big half mile, and he'd catch the guy, and he'd just get an arrow tight. We need to make them, and you've seen it in NASCAR. They've all along, they're like, hey, let's take a little downforce way, put the driver back into it. And that's what's cool about modifieds, why I love them, because they don't have a lot of downforce. But the late models, when you look at them, it's amazing at how fast and what we're able to do. And again, I don't think some of them.
Restrictor plates?
No, we don't need none of that. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, we have to look at safety. When you're running 10 seconds laps at places or 12s and they're breaking track records that are crazy, that technology we're using to make the cars faster, we also need to make them safer.
Absolutely. No doubt. Well, we are going to speak to Gary Tomkins. Come up here next on Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tires on MRN.com.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
O'Reilly. Has the summer heat taken a toll on your vehicle's battery? Count on O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Superstart battery that's right for your vehicle. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Motor Racing Network, glad to have you aboard for our coverage of practice, something we will be doing all throughout the year.
They are pretty close in practice.
You said you learned a lot in practice.
We can have a good, clean practice.
How many teams are going to opt out of practice?
Get this practice session underway.
As we close out practice.
What are we talking about? Practice? We're talking about practice, man.
We are talking practice. Sprint Cup Series practice on the Motor Racing Network. Join us all season long on MRN.com and the MRN app. Looking to find the best place for all the latest NASCAR Sprint Cup, Xfinity, Camping World Truck, K&N, and Modified Series news? MRN.com is the place to go. Your online home for NASCAR news, opinion, podcasts, videos, race schedules, results, and statistics. Award-winning motorsports writers keep you informed and up to date on all the latest breaking NASCAR news and in-depth stories and opinion. MRN.com, your online home for all the NASCAR information you're looking for. This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back to Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tires. Joining us now, it is Gary Tomkins. Welcome to the show, Gary.
Thank you.
So it's been a few years since you've gotten your Super Dirt Car win. How's it feel to finally be back in victory lane with the Super Dirt Car Series?
Well, first off, it didn't seem like it was that long. I guess I didn't really realize it was that long, but it definitely feels good, and having it done at a big race like that, in front of a big crowd, and obviously the payday helped, and at a track that I've been going to since I was a little kid, it was pretty special.
So with a home track win, did you feel that you had a little bit of an advantage going there, or feeling different about that day, or just things?
Well, Al Hankey bought that track a few years ago, and he's spent millions of dollars. I mean, everything about that place has been changed except for one thing: the track itself. It's still the same old weed sport that I've been racing on for years, and we don't regularly race there. It's just a special only track now. But during the feature event, I was running third to Stu Friesen, and Eric Rudolph was leading. I know Stu's got a few laps around there. Eric, I don't know how many laps he's got around there. And Eric was running a good race. He was running where he should have been. We had a caution on lap 63. And on the restart, Matt Shepard was running fourth, and a caution came quickly out. For some reason, they put him third, put me fourth. And man, here I am stuck behind Stu Friesen and next to Matt Shepard, two of the hottest drivers in the Northeast. And, I got Eric Rudolph leading, and he's running a really good race. I knew he had a fast car, I just couldn't get any brakes. And I said, I used to run, when the track got slick, used to run up the banking a little bit, sort of in the middle of the track in the corners. And on the restart, I did that going into one, and the thing stuck. And, it took me a couple laps to get my rhythm going. And once I did, the thing just took off, and we drove by Matt and drove by Stu and actually caught up to Eric just as we were catching lap traffic. And with 8 to go, caution came out, and on the green flag, he got away from me a little bit. I think my tires cooled down a little too much, so I ran around the bottom following him, caught back up to him, and then stuck it out there a lap and a half to go, and things stuck again, and we got by him on the last lap. And I think because the fact that he doesn't have that many laps there, one thing a lot of us do. And it really doesn't really make up any more time, but it's just a matter of keeping other guys at bay a little bit. Is coming out of turn 4, you always drive up to the wall, and he left me a lane and allowed me to get next to him and get a run, getting into one, and getting a good lap on the last lap.
It sounded like it was a whale of a race. I mean,
yeah.
And what's encouraging about that? is when I got to see a lot of super dirt car guys at Sharon, Ohio. They said a lot of the races this year have been, pretty locked down. It gets rubbered up, and they're not passing as much. And I'm glad to hear, Weed Sport wasn't like that with things. What are some of the stuff that maybe you feel they could do different at some of these tracks that are locking down one lanes?
I think it's really a little bit more about the weather this summer. I mean, up in the Northeast here, we've had a drought, and I just think that promoters are really having a hard time keeping up with the tracks, trying to keep them, the moisture in them without making them rough. And I wouldn't say all the tracks have locked down. I know a few of them are. I know Williams Grove did, but Williams Grove for us, the last time we were there, I think it was 2008, it locked down rubber, but it locked down on the top. It just, for whatever reason, that track doesn't like big block dirt modifieds.
It just loves push.
But I know there's
cars.
been some good races at some other places. I mean, Eldora, we went out there. Thankfully, Tony redid the track right before we went off to our feature, but we started 20th and actually fell back to like 28th because I didn't have enough gear in the car early on, and we drove up to 4th. And I know Billy Decker started back with me. He got 5th. I'm not sure Blaney or Horton. I know Horton started back with me. He was 3rd and Blaney was 2nd. I think Fuller started towards the front, but there are guys coming from the back with these races. But there are a few tracks like that, and you're always going to have tracks like that.
Yeah,
I just think it's depending on how the tracks prep more than anything else. How we're going to have a race,
and probably shapes because the big block cars are. I love watching them at World Finals because it could be all on the top for a sprint car, and then you watch the big block cars come out, and you're like, man, they're all over the place. It's great to watch. So obviously different tracks and the types of cars run different. But what are some of the things that you've seen? I mean, it seems like a lot of guys have new teams this year, different things kind of going on in the series. What do you think some of that is, or it's just kind of things got stale with different people and they moved on to different other situations?
I think that's a little bit of it right there. I think things just got stale with some people, and like HBR, they went out and bought a teal car. They haven't been. Yeah. They've always been mature since that. Yeah. Since that team's been formed. I just think they decided they wanted to try something different, and they bought a teal car for Jimmy Phelps. I don't know how much farther it's going to go than that. And obviously Matt Shepard making his own team, Stu Friesen drilling his own team. Actually, the team I won Weed Sport with, that was a new team. That was our second race. Our first race was Eldora.
Oh, wow.
It's just one of them things where I think it's a little bit of a cycle thing, where everybody's steady for a while, and all of a sudden it's time for guys to change, and then, it puts that idea in other guys' heads, hey, let's make a change too, and go from there. I mean, but, that's racing. It's not ever going to stay the same. It's always going to change. And I think as a driver, you just got to be prepared for it and try to make the most of your opportunities.
Yep.
Gary, I'm glad you brought that up. You talk about the new team. It was your first outing with them at Eldora in a brand new car, and then you ran well. Obviously, you finished 4th, and then you pick up the win at Weedsport. Talk about what it's like being with a new team. I mean, I know you still have your other stuff that you run locally with, but jumping in a new car with a new team like that, going off to Eldora, which, it's been 10 years since they've raced there. What is that like?
It's a little nerve-wracking a little bit because you really don't know. I knew the car. The car is a 2016 BRP car, rack rear torsion bars. It's basically the same car I run on Saturday nights at Canada with Vincent Racing, and I run Friday nights at Outlaw Speedway with the Ford Clark team. The motor was going to be the big thing. That motor there was built by JPM. Actually, Ronnie Johnson had it built, and he sold it to the guy I drive for, Darren Kendrick. So that was the unknown. And that's sort of the reason why we were a little goofed up on gear, because we really weren't sure what we were going to get. And but we learned a lot out there. Actually, we were the Invitational the following night at Eldora with a truck race, and we just spent that night just trying stuff out, different carburetors and gear and stuff like that. So it's, you really got to go by sort of what you know before, but you just got to go by what the car wants. And it's funny, while I was waiting to talk to you guys, I was hearing a commercial about MRN coverage of practice. While out there at Eldora, the modifieds got 3 laps of practice, and the trucks would get an hour and a half. So it's just you really don't have much time to really figure out these cars at all. You got to go out and race, and
that's
we've
not
been
a
fortunate.
bad
The
thing.
thing has been fast, so I that's a good sign right there. It's something we can build off of.
Yeah. Well, Gary, we're getting in that time of year. Super Dirt Car Week's coming up. Obviously, it's going to be at Oswego. What are your thoughts on that, and maybe expectations going into it if you're running it?
We're going to take that car we ran Weedsport with up there. It's going to be a wide open race. There's obviously no notes whatsoever for that place. I mean, everyone knows the track size, but you don't know the characteristics of clay, and are they going to change the banking a little bit when they put the clay down? How flat is it going to be? Amount of grip, how much moisture is going to be in the track. So you really got to go up there, and we're going to get a little bit of practice time there. So you got to use every little bit you can, and be ready to make changes. As soon as you can, as quick as you can, to try to keep up to the track. I think it's going to be interesting. I'm not going to say it's fun. I'll tell you that afterwards. But I think it's going to be interesting how that week's going to go, because it's such a big unknown. It's just nothing like this has ever been done with an event this big for us anyway. Moving it to another track and something that's massive like this. I mean, I know talking to some of the officials, they were looking to put 280 cars in the pits. And going to try to find room for more. I mean, they got room for hundreds and hundreds of campers there. So, it like I said, it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to it, but like I said, you got to be ready for all kinds of changes for that place.
You know what's interesting is you talk about no notes, nothing else, and I think it play more towards guys going back on an even playing field, to where a lot of guys that's been to the mile when they're running, they had such good notes and they could go back to where, Oswego's going to be, hey, everybody's on the same playing field. We're going to go there. And I think also that Super Dirt Car, I think somebody's trying to call you.
No, it's another phone. I'm in an office right now.
So. You need to take it?
Sorry.
It might be.
It's not for me. I know that.
I think that when you talk about that biggest stage, Super Dirt Car Week, all the fans, everybody's just looking forward to how it's going to turn out. And I think I have a lot of faith in World Racing Group and Super Dirt Car that it's going to be just fine. They will tune it up, and it's going to live up to the prestige that it always has had. But I think that they could probably get a few more cars that, they feel like, hey, I'm not going to be at a disadvantage because – guys have been coming here for 10, 15 years or more to the mile. So who knows how the cars will turn out, but I'm sure it'll be a great show.
Yeah, I've talked to a few guys who would never even dream of going to Syracuse. You got to have a special equipment for that place, and you're not going to need that for Oswego. You can take your Starinet car there and have a chance, and guys I've talked to said that they are seriously considering doing it. I would not be surprised if there's over 100 big blocks there. For that race trying to qualify. Not one bit.
Well, and that's kind of what I was getting to. Guys will go, oh, my motor's wore out from running all year. I can't go to the mile. But Oswego, they feel like they can take their equipment and still be pretty competitive, and that's why I feel they'll get pretty good car turnout for that.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Love it. So will you be coming down south for the Dirt Track World Finals here at Charlotte?
We will be there, yes. One way or another, Darren Kendrick, the guy that owns the car, drove at Weedsport. That's his big race. He wants to go to Syracuse. He wants to go to Charlotte. We're already planning stages for both, so that's our big deal there. And I look forward to going to Charlotte. I really love that track, and it's a pretty neat town to be into. It's it's all about racers and stuff. So I'm looking forward to that race too, even though it's going to be the last race of the year, but still it's quite an event. I really look forward to it. I love watching. I really don't get a chance to watch the late models and the sprint cars and stuff like that, and there you get a chance to do that. So it's pretty neat.
For sure. Well, awesome. We'll have to meet up with you and come say hello and see how the 84 cars running that weekend. But Gary, we appreciate you being on the show today, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Okay, thank you, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
Yes, good luck to you. That is cool. He got me thinking and brought up a good point that with Super Dirt Car Week, I think they will get more guys that run locally that'll go, man, I'm going to get me a motor and we can put it in the car, because everybody would come out at the mile and go, man, we got this new body. We got this.
Yeah,
I remember her and he come down here one year to the wind tunnel and, got to playing and doing stuff. So that's why I think it's going to be a really great show.
You weren't here the week. It was Steve Post filling in for you. We had talked to Matt Shepard, and he brought up a really good point. You can't bring back the atmosphere or the feel of Super Dirt Week.
Yep.
And he talked about maybe changing up the format. Matt Shepard had some really great ideas of what to do here at Oswego with Super Dirt Car. And but
I think that
unfortunately,
people were like, oh, they threw dirt on Rockford and it was rough.
Right.
Look, they go to Charlotte for World Finals. It's been rough. That's why World Racing Group and Sika, they're going to put an event on the week before. They got all these cars coming in, get the track prepped up and running and everything, and it'll be great. So, I mean, there's more efforts being put in, especially when you get that amount of cars that'll show up. I think it'll be just fine.
No doubt. Slingin Dirt is brought to you in part by STP. Ultra Clean, Ultra Performance, and Ultra Protection. STP Ultra 5-in-1 fuel system cleaner, their most advanced formula. STP, in for the long haul. We'll be back to talk.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Join the Motor Racing Network every Tuesday night for NASCAR Live. Get the latest news and exclusive interviews from the biggest names in the sport.
One thing, don't take yourself too seriously. Don't worry about people judging and just...
Hear the thoughts and opinions from NASCAR insiders.
Look at what he's been able to do with the Wood Brothers since they returned to full-time competition this year. Now, obviously...
It's NASCAR Live every Tuesday evening at 7 Eastern on the Motor Racing Network. Before you set your fantasy racing lineup, check in with our experts to get the inside line on who's fast and who's last entering the race weekend. Robbie Mays and Tyler Burnett take you inside the facts, stats, and latest news from the track so you have everything you need to set your team and win the weekend. Log on to MRN.com and enter the Media Center every Friday. It's the inside line on demand and only on the Motor Racing Network. This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back to Slingin Tires.
Slingin Tires. Hercules Tires is our sponsor, and we're not slinging tires.
Hey, maybe
that's
we
another
should
company,
try that.
That's another company.
We could put an event together, maybe at Charlotte for the dirt track.
If you want to go to an event, they have tickets. Listen, they have tickets for sale. All right, they can go to for the Michigan Truck and Cup Race.
Oh, they'll be slinging tires there.
They'll be slinging tires all down pit road, everything else. They can go to mispeedway.com to purchase tickets. So
Michigan.
I think it's well worth it to go to Michigan and check it out. The infield's always a great time. You go down and turn 3 and 4. They've done a whole lot there for fans. So
they really have. I was actually there for the spring race, and it was pretty impressive.
And they've
really stepped up their game.
Under the new rules for 2017 for the truck and Xfinity series. They always let kids in 12 and under free. Well, Michigan's always done that. So
there you go. There you have it, folks.
Yeah. Anyways, let's get to our guest.
Anyhow, we are going to speak to our friend Chub Frank. Welcome to the show, Chub.
Thank you for having me.
So are you holding
down? How are you
down?
guys doing?
We are well. How are you?
Good. Oh, pretty good. Busy, but pretty good.
Are you holding down the fort there in Pennsylvania?
Yeah. You know, we had race cars everywhere and trying to get ready to go racing this weekend.
What'd you do on your off weekend or somewhat of an off weekend?
Well, we had the cars stripped down, so we really weren't going anywhere. I actually went camping with my wife and my grandkids. And,
oh wow!
Just took some time off. It's been one of them. It's been a long season. One of them deals.
So I'm picturing you going camping. You've spent I don't know if it was 4 to 6 weeks on the road with the World Outlaws, But so did you unhook the S&S truck and take it, or did you actually have a full-on
Winnebago
camper?
Nope, actually just took the truck.
That is awesome.
We're in it. We live in it anyway, so
yes.
We just figured we'd take it. My daughter and son-in-law, they have a camper, so there was a bunch of us that went, and we just kind of hung out, drank a couple beers, and just relaxed.
That is awesome. That is, I'm like...
You're solidifying what David has wanted to do many times. He's
like,
let's just unhook the truck and go camping. And I'm like, why? We just park it in our backyard at that rate.
That's true, but it's not the same. Like, you go racing, you're still kind of camping, but it's still a job and it's stressful, I guess you can say. But this way, there's no stress. You don't have to be in a hurry to go anywhere or do anything.
Yeah. Well, and that's what, I got to talk to you a little bit there at Fairbury when we were in the evening relaxing, and that's what is so neat about dirt racing. You can stay right there most of the time. You can kind of relax. You have the camaraderie. Who are some of you, I'm gonna ask you, who are some of your favorite people that you've probably met and had good times with, clean good times after the races that you enjoy being around?
Opposed to dirty.
Well,
over the years, or are you just talking about right now?
Nope, over the years, over all your years of racing.
Well, we used to hang out with guys like Larry Moyer because he was racing. It was at the end of his career when I was starting out. So guys like that. But I mean, we hung out after the races, like with Brian Burkhofer and Jimmy Mars, guys like that. Mars is still racing, but Burkhofer's retired. Anytime if we'd have a campfire, so people would come over. I mean, just like when you come over at Fairbury. I mean, that's whoever comes over, we just hang out and BS and just have a good time. We're there just to have a good time, and once the races are over, it's I don't want to say you're killing time because you're really just, and it's nice to meet different people all the time. And there's been guys over the years or family members, whoever, but just all sorts of different people that we've met. Heck, I don't think I could ever name them all.
Yeah, it's funny because of when you go to the racetrack, and it was like that in the NASCAR league where we travel, but you're competitors, but you're like, man, I like hanging out with these guys over here, and maybe you have people in common. But with things that you've seen over the years, here lately, we've seen a lot about concussions, people getting hurt. You think you ever raced, where you're like, man, I probably should have took a couple weeks off, but you had to go race or you went racing?
Yeah, I did. I actually got hit with the rotor at Smithport up here. They have what they call the Fall Nationals. They ran 2 days, and the first night I got hit in a heat race in the head and knocked out and hit the wall. And actually hit the wall hard enough that it cracked the wall and destroyed the car. But we had a backup car that we got out the next day, but I shouldn't have probably drove it. But, I mean, it's one of them deals where you need the money. And I could actually feel it when I got out there and raced, like went out to hot lap and stuff. I could actually feel the pounding in my head.
What year was that?
What's that?
What year was that?
I think it was 07 maybe. Something like, I think it was 07. It just was a freak deal, but, after we raced a little bit and slowed down, I mean, I felt better. I didn't have any problems, but really, I knew I was knocked out for, half a minute or so, they said, when I got hit. So, you got a concussion pretty much, but. You tell everybody you're fine, and really you probably shouldn't have raced, but it was pretty much one of the last races of the year, so we really didn't. We had time off after that.
Yeah,
we ended up running second, so we made money. And,
a racer always trying to justify how it's okay. Well, it was towards the end of the season, so
they're like, "What's your handicap?"
You got time to heal after.
Yeah. What's your handicap? Oh, I was like, had a concussion. I just run second, so I mean, you're all right. What with traveling around and getting to run all over the country, What's a racetrack that you haven't been to that you would really enjoy to go race that you've heard a lot about?
There's not too many that I haven't been to. I'd have to. I really don't. I mean, I've been to just about all the good racetracks. Well, I shouldn't say that I've been to all of them, but I've been to all the ones that I've heard are good. How's that?
Yeah.
But they're really. I mean, all I care about is if the racetrack's racy and you can pass on it.
Yeah.
And you know how that it's like that Fairbury. That Fairbury is one of that is an awesome racetrack. You were there. You know what it's like. That's only like the second or third time I've been there. The first time I went there, I was thinking this is not going to be that much fun, but it actually is a lot of fun to race on.
It's hard to tell people. I go, you look at that place, you're like, man, we're going to tear some stuff up here, and you'll be 3-4 wide. You're racing, having a blast. And going to that Illinois area and you being from the Pennsylvania area is like the Sprint Car World Outlaws coming to Pennsylvania. I mean, it is tough in certain areas of the country that you go to.
Oh, definitely. Any of them, all the Hell Tour guys are there. When they're out there, and they're just that whole area. It's a tough location, I guess, if you want to go race, and it's a rough and tumble too. If you got to be ready because they're on it there, and they're not giving you an inch, and so you got to be, you got to be with it the whole time when you're out there.
So I want to talk a little bit about Boom. I know that at one point you were building him a car. Are you still working on that?
No, he's back. I mean,
is
he's
he?
racing. He's racing, and I've got actually 2 new cars, one for him and one for me, ordered frames and stuff. And I've got 2 cars going for him, and he's, like I said, he's about 90% with his arm the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
That was
he's had several surgeries.
I know, and I've talked about it on the cars are going so fast lately, and I hate to keep preaching on this because we opened the show kind of with this, but Boom's wreck at Farmer City was scary, and we've seen a lot like at Atomic, guys hitting, and I think some of the places, these tracks, they need to look at, hey, or even a sanction body go, look, we need to work on these areas, because that was a really, really scary wreck, and he come out, somewhat, not as torn up as what could have been, but it was definitely scary the way the car tore apart there.
Well, I mean, here's the thing about that deal. I mean, the way, years ago we had leaf spring cars, and if you hit something like that, the rear end would have come out from underneath the car.
Yeah.
Nowadays, everything's like welded, underslung. You know how they are. They're all welded. Everything's underslung. The rear end's pretty much has no place to go but into all them pipes if it gets ripped out of the mounts. And it's hard to see hit that car. Actually, it tore, part of the rear clip off of it, but it actually held up pretty good. In fact, we fixed it, and it's racing again. It's won races this year already. The car held up good.
Yep.
The only reason I actually think he got hurt is because he was so close to the wall when he hit the right rear tire. It snapped the right front right into the wall, and he still had a good grip on the steering wheel. You normally, if you know you're going to wreck, you kind of loosen your grip up because just so you don't get hit in the wheel, and that's what happened. He basically shattered his wrist from having such a grip on the steering wheel still, and when it snapped the steering wheel out of his hand, it just basically shattered his wrist. The car held up good inside. I mean, there was nothing in around the driver that there was any problems. It was all in the rear behind him, behind the 4-bar mounts, actually.
Yeah. Well, enough about bad news. I want to know. I got to watch you at Carolina. You run second. I mean, you have some really good runs. You've been fast. When are we going to get you a win?
I don't know. I'm working on it. We've been working steady, trying to. It's a hard deal. These guys, you got guys like Josh that are, that's probably the number 1 team in the country. Josh Richards, that whole team, and it's pretty hard to beat them guys when they're on like they are right now. We run second to them at Carolina, like you said, and they've just been dominant. But we've been trying different stuff. We're just struggling a little bit in the slick. Last weekend we actually were a lot better. At least we were consistent. You know, we ran in we actually led some laps. We run in the top 10 every night, all 4 nights, and the car was decent. We just 2 nights we put the wrong tire on, and you know as well as I do is if you put the wrong tire on, and these things, you know, it was good. We led some laps, but then the tire gave up, and we backed up a little bit. But you know, so there were some pluses there anyway, and that's what we're working on right now, just trying to get the consistency, and then we just need a little bit more speed out of it, and you know, then we'll be there. But
you'll be there.
It's a tough deal. It's a tough deal to do.
I know you'll be there. You've been digging at it.
I
so.
love it. Well, Chub, one more question before we got to cut you loose. I just learned this morning that Chub is not actually your real name.
No, it's not. My dad's name is Jerry, and so is mine. And when I was a kid, I was chubby, so it just stuck, and it really probably wouldn't have been a very good racing name if I was Jerry Frank. So
Dang.
the Chub actually works better. That way.
I mean, heck, it's got to sell T-shirts, so it works.
Yeah, it does.
I love it. Well, Chub, we appreciate you being on the show today. Thank you so much.
Well, I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Right, boy, it's
good
a hoot.
stuff.
I'm telling you,
and boom. He got his name, I believe it was from his niece, because he fell down a lot, and she always said he went boom. So that's how he got his nickname, Boom.
I'll tell you what's interesting. If you got him and Francis and Dale McDowell, I mean, there's so many guys that they're very knowledgeable, and I love hearing how dirt racing's evolved and their stories and stuff. I mean, really all of them. I mean, you get Bloomquist in there and different guys, and it's interesting at what all they have seen through the different, I guess, decades of racing.
Absolutely.
So.
Well, this next guy's still a young gun that we're going to talk to. We'll speak to Billy Moyer Jr. coming up next here on Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tire.
Slingin Dirt returns in 1 minute on MRN.com.
O'Reilly.
Has the summer heat taken a toll on your vehicle's battery? Count on O'Reilly Auto Parts for the Superstart battery that's right for your vehicle. For a limited time, purchase a Superstart Premium, Extreme, or Platinum battery and get up to a $15 O'Reilly gift card by mail. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better better prices every day. Limits apply. See store for details.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
From work life to nightlife, from home to the road, your day can take you anywhere. These fast-paced times call for Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Advanced Comfort is designed to keep up with you, no matter where you go or what you're doing. They're made with 20% stronger denim and 4-way flex technology that moves with you. Wrangler Advanced Comfort. Go anywhere, look great, and be comfortable. Wrangler Advanced Comfort jeans. Try on a pair today.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, ride on our strength.
This is Slingin Dirt on MRN.com. Now back to Ashley and David Stremme.
Welcome back to Slingin Dirt, presented by Hercules Tires. There we go. I got it that time. Gold star. Anyhow, we are going to talk to the World of Outlaw, his first World of Outlaw win. It is Billy Moyer Jr. Welcome to the show, Billy.
Hi, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. You're a hard guy to track down.
We just kind of been working a little bit here and then. We didn't get in contact with the guy that called me the other day in time to do it. I think last week. So we're on here now.
Just tell him you're celebrating.
You're busy.
You're putting new sheet metal on. You're getting ready. You're gonna go win some more.
Yeah, this old car we've been running. It was we've been on the road like 3 weeks before that, and it was getting kind of rough. So we wanted to freshen it up before we leave Thursday for like a month. So that's our last big trip of the year, I hope. And I just wanted to have the car look as best we can. And then if we get on the road and have to freshen it up, we can do it. But it's a lot easier when you're right here in my own equipment and everything.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It doesn't seem right. Your first World Outlaw win. I mean, it seems like you've won other times here. I mean, you've run so well. I mean, what was it like to finally get that win?
There wasn't really anything like it. I mean, we've won Volusia before and won I don't know, a handful of 10 grams, 7 or 8 or something like that over my career. But there's only 2 national series and Crown Jewels. But like it's Lucas and World of Outlaws, and it's just to finally win one of those. It just shows how hard we work and how it means so much to me. Just to be on a national level. I've told everybody as I was growing up, and then I started racing. I don't really want to be stay in my area and be a good regional racer. And I could probably make a decent living at that. But sponsors would like you to travel more, and product sponsors especially don't want to see a guy win in one area. And I've always told myself if I can't be like my dad at least and get close to him and all those guys and win anywhere all over the country, I don't really want to do this. And we try really hard, and to finally win, it's somewhere in Virginia, way away from home, and it means a lot to get a national level win, not in my backyard or not in certain tracks that are in my area. We've won Arizona, won in Wisconsin and Florida, but never on a national scale. So to finally seal the deal, it's awesome. And to beat a heck of a lot of good cars up there, Richardson, Clanton, and then you got Covert that runs good up there, and then Chub. So it was nice to finally win one.
It's funny listening to you, and you're like, win on the national level. And I follow you on social media, and I thought, here's a guy, he won at Hartford, Michigan, rolled in there first time, won at Hartford, Michigan, went to Oakshade and won. You make it look easy, and you're like, it's so hard to win on a national level, but them guys look at you as a national guy. I mean, you travel around and you're on that level, that other racers look at you. So don't knock yourself too hard. You've definitely worked hard, and it is amazing seeing you travel around and winning all over the place.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It shows we work so hard. I got 2 guys that work really hard on my car, and then we have great sponsorship, CPS, MVT, and then my uncle Carl Performance. If it wasn't for those 3 there, I couldn't do it. But you still have to work hard no matter what you have, and I'm blessed to have all the support behind me. But you still have to work the long hours, have to drive the hauler up and down the road. But rolling up there to Michigan and Oakshade, places where we kind of just dropped in because we were already up there on traveling other places, shows how good our team is at times. I've never raced at Hartford and we won, and then Oakshade we won before, but still to roll in there and be on the road so long and just get the job done shows we're right there. We're not to the top level yet. We're still a middle tier guy, but we're definitely it's not a shock when we win some races, so that's a plus. But we have a long ways to go to be in my dad and Bloomquist and Richards and Francis, Ecker, McCready, all those guys' status. We're still below them, but if we do beat them, those guys, it's not a shock to them. They show me a lot of respect, and it's nice. It means a lot when you beat those good guys, and I don't ever gloat about it or ever tell them how fast I am. They respect me for that, I think, and it just means a lot to me just to beat those guys. I sound repetitive, but it really does. I've looked up to a lot of those guys my whole life.
Yeah.
And to be able to beat them and then them shake my hand and everything like that means the world to a kid that started out just living and breathing this, and now I'm up there racing with those guys.
Well, it's really cool that, you set dreams for yourself as a kid growing up watching them, and you're accomplishing those goals now, and you're extremely gracious about it. So that's really cool to see. I want to talk about the race itself. You were leading. Were you counting those last few laps down? I mean, just wanting to get that first national win?
Yeah, I was. When we took off, I had Clanton on the pole, and he's one of the best guys out there, and, him and Josh are above probably everybody in our series. And I knew I had to get him on the start because it was going to be kind of hard to pass. I knew we had a decent car, before we took off. And then once we got rolling, I thought, holy cow, we've got a really, really good car here. Just don't make any mistakes. And then we got the lead, and my guys were giving me like I had some room. I think at one time they said we had a 2-second lead, and that's when I can kind of relax a little bit. But then at the end of that thing, I was starting to catch lap traffic another time. I didn't really want to catch them, so I was counting the laps, the last 12 or so. I was really counting them, and I told myself to, don't miss the bottom, and I almost tried to slow up just a little bit to maybe not catch that lap car as long as I had some room on the guys behind me. So I actually tried to slow myself down so I didn't really have to get out of the groove and risk losing a second instead of just losing a tenth a lap or something to Covert.
Yeah.
And I actually did. I backed up, and I didn't catch that lap car. But Covert caught me a little bit, but I was definitely slowing down to just make sure I didn't miss the bottom. I'd rather him gain a tenth on me than gain 5/10, 2 laps in a row, and then be on my bumper. So he kind of gained a little bit here and there, but we were definitely just trying to be smart in the seat and not make any dumb mistakes.
Well, we've seen here all summer your guys' chassis, the Moyer. What's the official name of it? I'll make sure I get it right.
Billy Moyer Victory Race Cars.
Billy Moyer Victory Race Cars. I mean, we've seen Ferger in it. We've got Chub. I mean, there's so many guys in it. Do you think it's just getting everybody kind of together, and that's what's making them better, or is it just time getting on them? I mean, what's some of the ingredients there?
It's everything. When we first started this thing, it was just me and Dad, and I struggled at the first. I couldn't get the feel I was looking for, and we kept digging and working harder and built another car, and got the feel we need. And then when you have guys, Brandon Overton, Jason Fager, and Chub, those guys, they've won a lot of races in their years and won some in these cars already. And me and Brandon are both young, and we work really well together. And I don't know what I do without him. When we're on the road, that guy, there isn't another person in the world. If you was ever pit by somebody, just watch them all night. Just watch how they work. It's pretty cool. He just kind of goes with the flow. And to have him, me and him bounce ideas off each other and race each other clean, that's another thing. It's fun to race with guys that you don't have to worry about driving over your nose or wrinkling your quarter panels every lap. He's fun to race with there, but just to keep talking and bouncing ideas off, and then you call Dad and talk to him, and then we all just try to work together to keep selling cars and to keep our drivers in victory lane.
Yeah. What you speaking to Dad? What's he gonna do? Is he like? I'm not saying he's semi-retired because he's very competitive and still winning, but where do you think he's gonna be over the next year or two?
I really think after this year is probably. I'd say it's going to be it for him. I think I've never thought this the past. People have said it 4 or 5 years, but I think this is it for him. The only way he'd probably do it is if he had a deal like some of these other guys where all they do is bring their helmet and drive and don't have to worry about paying for everything.
Yeah.
He would probably do that. He's always a hands-on guy. He'll definitely have to work on the car and scale and do his tricks and here and there. But as far as paying for everything, he's burnt out on it and how expensive this sport is. I really think this is probably it for him.
So we could see him in his bus. Maybe he takes 3 weeks off. I mean, you took a little time off and then you come back hard at it. I don't think he's just going to walk away and we're never going to see him again. He'll probably be right in your pits or doing something, wouldn't you think?
Yes, he will. He's definitely not going to just leave. He'll be here. We're trying to build the cars, and up the car performance and get that business going too. And he's definitely not going anywhere like that. I just mean as far as driving and full time. Who knows? He might jump in my car here and there, but I don't foresee him racing, 40 times next year. I don't know if I see him racing 15 or 20. It just depends on how he gets through the year and or through the off season. That way he goes out to Glamis and gets his head right out there in the sand dunes. He'll be a different guy. But he definitely. He's getting tired. He's just, I can see it now being his son, and the guy's still so good. I've watched all my life, up there at Eldora and Wheatland with the best competition there is.
Yeah.
He's still beating them guys, but he's just getting tired and doesn't have enough crew help, and he's still the man. And I'll say it. I've told in interviews before. I know Scott's won a lot of races and won probably more money. But my dad is the best driver there ever will be in a late model. As far as the guy can run at Fairbury on a big cushion, go to Macon on a big cushion. He can win at win at West Plains in the Ice Cube Slick, and then he can go to East Bay and run sideways all the way around there. There's not many guys that can win on every type of track. I'm one of them that's not. I'm not good when you got to run sideways. Josh is really good at that. Yeah. But Dad can do that, and Dad can do a big cushion, or he can float through the middle in the ice cube slick. He can do all those things. There's not many guys that can.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I love it. Well, Billy, before we let you go real quick, I saw on social media you needed a truck driver for Knoxville. Have you gotten one knocked down?
I was just trying to get a guy to help me. It'd be nice to find an old retired fan that just wants to drive a truck a little bit. We just kind of gets burnt out staring at that windshield constantly, and then you have to work and everything on the car. But we haven't found one yet. But if we don't, we'll be all right.
Hey, if it pays good, I think the wife let me go for a little while.
You don't have a CDL. All right.
She got you there.
I did. Yes, absolutely. Well, thank you, Billy. We appreciate you being on the show today.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for having me. It's always a pleasure, and I listen to you a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, Billy.
Thank you.
Love it.
Well, when you look at the dirt racing, you got him and Pierce and Moran. I mean, there's so many young guys. Tyler Carpenter. I mean, just look across the country. I mean, it's interesting.
And I love
the health of dirt racing.
Absolutely. And I just love to hear how gracious and humble he is. He's like, I've won races, but this one means something to me because this is what I've dreamed about since I was a little kid.
Well, think about it. He grew up around everything, and then, he's beating them guys. So it's a really cool deal. Anyways, a lot of racing, through this fall. So like I say all the time, check out social media.
Yeah, check it out.
There's racing all over. I mean, I'm looking forward to next weekend. Labor Day is always great racing.
Yes,
so.
Lots of races. Lucas is at Ponderosa and Lawrenceburg, and World of Outlaws are at Merritt. Make sure you check us out on Slingin Dirt. Tweet us your pictures from this weekend. We want to see it. But thank you for joining us here on Slingin Dirt on MRN.com.
This has been Slingin Dirt with Ashley and David Stremme. Listen every Tuesday at 11 Eastern on MRN.com for more news, interviews, and opinion from dirt tracks all over America. Slingin Dirt is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.